There's a disturbing trend online that most people now see kindness as a weakness, and in my experience, this could not be further from the truth. I've been traveling around the world for over 6 years, and during that time, I've traveled to some of the most statistically dangerous places on the planet, and I have not had a single attempted mugging or a single massively negative interaction with a stranger. Many of my friends who have done the same amount of travel for the same length of time have had these negative experiences. And I was thinking about why that is the case. And the other day I realized that I can credit it to my what I call excessive kindness that I show to strangers. And let me show you what I mean by this. So, when I first started traveling 6 years ago, you're doing this thing where you're spending a month here, maybe 3 months here, a couple months here, a week here. And through that, you really miss deep connection in your life. And so I came up with sort of a social method to try to establish deeper connections more quickly. And that method was essentially approaching everyone that I meet as if they are already my friend. And so when you approach the world like this, there's two things that occur that are very important. The first is in your brain, there's what's called a reticular activation system, which you can see as a massive filter for experience. This is sort of the thought that the belief that you go into an interaction or an experience with will massively dictate what you actually get out of that experience, and is the reason why two different people going into the same experience with different beliefs and mindsets will take different things from the experience. And in this context, that looks like going into an interaction already believing a person is your friend, so you naturally will pick up on evidence to support that theory, which allows you to maintain very positive feelings and express very positive micro expressions towards the person during the conversation. The second thing is that humans are a social creature, and if you don't believe me there, I would advise you to go spend 3 days alone in the woods, and trust me, by the end of that experience, you will understand the truth in what I'm saying. We need to be in a society to maintain our sanity. And in that capacity, we've developed over time this tendency to mirror those around us through what are called mirror neurons. And when you positively approach a person, it becomes very natural for them, even if at first they might be slightly skeptical. Within a minute or two, it becomes very second nature for them to reciprocate that level of positive feelings towards you. The other portion of that is also nobody wants to be seen treating someone who approached them as nice in a way that would belie them being an asshole, and people around them seeing that, because there could be social repercussions on that person. So here is why I credit this way of treating people with keeping me safe, quote unquote, for these 6 years that I've been traveling. I think that people have this idea that the harder that you look, the more dangerous that you look, the less likely you would be to be mugged. But I think that is wrong, because when a person walks around with a scowl on their face, when they walk around with tense muscles and sort of projecting that they're power, quote unquote, to those around them, what they're actually projecting is insecurity. And I don't mean that in a psychological sense, I mean that in a physical sense, right? They're in an environment that is foreign to them and they feel unsafe, so they feel as if they need to communicate to those around them this aura of don't mess with me. Whereas when you walk down the street and you're at peace and you are dapping up the locals around you and just having a fun time, to someone who's a potential criminal or thief, they see that and they see the potential repercussions that they might face stealing something from that individual. Most travelers have a very poor social support system around them or network around them. And in a lot of these cultures, your social support system is everything. The capacity for the police to go and do something to someone who robs you, very low in many places in the world. The last portion of this that I also want to talk about is, again, as I discussed before, humans are also social creatures. And that means all of us. Even that person who is potentially going to rob someone, they are also a social creature. And there is some capacity in which you treating that person or projecting the aura of treating people nicely that extends to everyone gives you some level of credence with that person, and they think, you know what, I'll just get the next guy. So don't fall into this trap of seeing kindness as a weakness, and in many ways kindness can be a massive projection of power.